In this video, I'm going to talk about high performance C#, but specifically about span in C#. Span is not that new. It has been with us from .NET 7. So let's just go straight and talk about it. What is span T? Span T is a new value type at the heart of .NET. It enables the representation of contiguous regions of arbitrary memory. That's all. That's all. No need to know anything more. Like this. See? So, how is span T implemented? Developers, I got it from Microsoft Docs. Developers generally do not need to understand how a library they are using is implemented. So thank you so much. The rest is gone. We should not need to know anymore, but it's like a simple strike like this. I agree with Microsoft. Let's use it instead of going through so many theories. What do we need? Benchmark.net in a simple console application. I will jump to Visual Studio and we will see how fast, or I can say how different is a span in C#. Let's go. This is a simple console application, program.cs, that's all. Two simple class, span array benchmark, deal with strings. Let's have a look at span array benchmark at first. See, one simple integer, array size, one array. This constructor is not that important. Let's come here. Array sum, span sum. I have a sum of the array with a simple loop, but dealing with array. In another one, I'm going to deal with a span. These two are going to be compared with each other by benchmark.net. Okay, here. Benchmark runner.run and the class name. Since these two methods has an attribute like benchmark, it will run in release mode. It should be in release mode and compare the performance and runtime of this method, these two methods. Okay, let's do it. But let me tell you, or let's talk about why these things matter. See, nowadays, when you gonna deal with, for example, Azure Functions, the execution time also is so costly for you. Maybe you can say the difference between these two would be 2 seconds, maybe less, maybe more. Yes, but the execution time on the cloud, for example, is so costly for you. So sometimes imagine that you gonna fire a method 100,000 times a day, maybe million times a day, and each takes 3 seconds less if you have a look at what you have written, or if you spend 30 minutes to optimize your code by these things, then the money that you gonna pay and you have to pay to Azure, AWS, whatever, would be much less. So these things matter. Let's run and see. I will pause the recording, and then once everything was done, I will start the recording again. Look at the result. Not that much different, but they are different. Okay? Let's have a look at another example that I already prepared. So, deal with strings. I have a simple method to parse an address and postal code like this by a split. The other one does the same job by substring, and the other one does the job by using span. Okay? So in the benchmark, I'm trying to compare these three with each other. Let's see. So how should we run? Same as the other one, but we should deal with a string class. So let's see. Okay, this is the result. Have a look. So they are different. So when you gonna write code and performance does matter so much, be careful. Using a simple C# feature like this makes a big difference. So don't just go for frameworks. I have been asked million times, for example, should we use Dapper or Entity Framework? I personally say, instead of being worried about these things, try to optimize your code. Sometimes I have seen such things in anybody code. They fetch the data from the database very fast, but then they loop through it in a very bad way, or they try to cast it to something else which is not that optimized. It decreases the time and it makes mess in your code. Sometimes the difference of Dapper, for example, and Entity Framework would be some milliseconds, but the difference between a bad code and an optimized code would be 10 seconds, 30 seconds. Then it would be very, very upsetting if you could optimize your code, but you were oblivious and just write something, get the result and go. Okay, this is a span, very simple, but if you keep it in your mind and anytime you gonna touch something like an array, list, these things, you try to deal with a span, you will get a good results most of the time. Not all the time, but most of the time. Thank you so much. Keep learning.